Hi everyone, very good afternoon. This is our sixth week basically. People are doing well, are, solving in comprehension. So, verbal ability series, which happens at 9 a.m. That was a newer event which we placed after a week, but this was going on for a week. This was going on for a week when that class began. Older series, like that you can see, 24 classes have already happened. They have placed and amazing work we have done. So I hope you people are preparing well. You people are writing test series. People are doing proper an analysis of your question, options, the wrong question. You people are reading the answers which are given, right? Because only by reading answers you get to know the solutions which are given in any test paper, in any test series, sectional test, topic wise test, as to why you made. I think that is very important, and not doing a lot but few questions correctly every day is important to build your skill. So my name is Anupam. You will know probably I have trained more than 2,500, and now probably looking at the views and all and number of subscribers, I can say that I have taught more than uh, 3,000 students for CAT, and number of hours of training would be now I think more than 3,100 hours of training. Same time, the number of hours of preparation which we do before coming to the class, and this number of hours will go to double or more of it. And then I have also done a lot of content creation. I've developed questions. Sometimes when I give insights, their insights are coming from someone who has actually created questions for prestigious clients such as GMAC, for the GMAT. That level of work I've done, so probably I'll be of some help to you people. uh, Search the Academy app, install it, go to plus, go to cat and subscribe to course. Get the 5 offerings in front of you. You'll see that the pricing is amazing. 1,750 for 24 months and 12 months respectively. Same time, um, and you will have to use the code Saxena 10 to get these prices. At the same time, you will get some free classes also, which are there on the app. So you could download the app, and you will get some special free live classes. Also, you will get a lot of quizzes. Utilize them, right? So let's start and let's talk about the class today. Let's solve the RC exam. And also the classes which you will not attend live, those classes will be recorded, so you can like a YouTube live classes which become like normal YouTube videos. A lot of classes are present, they're saved, they are, you can access them on your app. They will be available, you can utilize them n number of times if they have taken place in past, or if they are taking place right now. You can record, you can look at them after a couple of hours, or whichever. But and those classes which will happen in the future, if you attend them better. If you're not able to attend them, then you can also view them at the later point of time. For live classes, you also get you know, also ask questions, a lot of questions live. Let's try and read this particular RC. Let's try and solve this RC. Free of the taint of manufacture. That phrase in particular is, so this is a difficult RC. This is a tough RC, I can say. Free of the taint of manufacture. That phrase in particular is heavily loaded with the ideology of what the Victorian socialist William Morris called anti-scrap or anti-capitalist conservationism. Anti-capitalist conservationism, not conservatism. So conservatism, which is written in the within the brackets, that is basically having a traditional outlook towards things. You know, when we resist to a change, we are conservative. This is saying that there is a certain culture which happens, and there's a ideology which is anti-capitalist or anti-scrape. Let's read further that solace itself with the vision of a pre-industrial golden age. So it's saying that there is a certain ideology which talks about uh, uh, that before industrialization happened, before the steam engine happened in the 16th century, sometime in Europe. Before that, there was a golden age, and they sort of they feel good about it, or they derive a lot of comfort and peace from that vision that once Europe was having this golden age. In Britain, folk may appear a cozy, fossilized form, but you can look more closely. Idea of folk, who has the right to sing it, dance it, evoke it, collect it, belong to it, or appropriate it for political cultural ends, has always been a contested debate. They're saying that folk music. So now we get to know that they're talking about folk music. If you who can evoke it, dance it, sing it, collect it. So probably they're talking about folk music. We're still not sure about it, but we'll read about. Actually, I know what this is all about, but just reading as you would read. So they're talking about that there is certain, or you can also read that folk may appear a cozy fossilized form. Okay? So you can say that this is that folk has a reference to pre-industrial England and has certain attributes of nostalgia. About it. In our own time, the word folk has achieved a rare. In our old time, the word folk has achieved the rare distinction of occupying fashionable and unfashionable status simultaneously. Just as the effusive floral prints of the radical William Morris now cover genteel sofas, so the revolutionary intentions of many folk historians and revivalists have led to music that is commonly regarded as parochial and conservative. And yet, as newspaper columns periodically rejoice, folk is hip again, uh, influencing artists, clothing and furniture designers, celebrated at music festival, award ceremonies, and on TV, reissued on countless record labels. The folk is a sonic, shabby chick containing elements on the uncanny and eerie, as well as an antique veneer, a whiff of Britain's earthen dark. The very obscurity and anonymity of folk music's origin open up spaces for rampant imaginative fancy. What this piece is saying that folk has achieved has been both fashionable and it has been both unfashionable. It has been once considered very something which is very new, very fresh, and at the same time it has been also very innovative and breaking the chains, and sometimes it is also seen as very conservative. And it also say that it is and it and you know it is folk celeb is celebrated in popular culture in various ways: music, art, clothing, furniture, a lot of ways. Also, folk is a it's a sonic shabby chick containing elements of so chic means something which is very in culture, which is very hip, very modern, very relevant to the present times. At the same time, it contains and an uncanny and eerie as well as antique veneer, means that it has a certain historical reference, a certain attributes which remind us of a previous era. At the same time, it is relevant, right? So a whiff of Britain's heathen dark ages. What are heathen is something which is pre that heathen basically is a person who is pagan in belief system. That is the person who doesn't believe. So in English language, it means that in English language, heathen means that somebody who doesn't believe in the God mentioned in the Bible. So basically, heathen is something who does not believe in the God as as a popular religion or the popular culture in Britain is. So it is something. So they believe in different gods, or they don't believe in gods at all. This is pre. So earlier before Christianity came in, or people were they embraced the Christianity. um they People used to follow other religions. They used to follow their own local or tribal or their own belief system they had. But when they sort of had this sort of a culture, it came along, then it was so it's saying that it has a, so it's modern, it's in, and at the same time it has a connection, it has a reference to, it reminds you of some very distant past, uh, the music or the culture which might have happened. So the very obscurity, so let's write it here that It talks about that so both fashionable and unfashionable. It represents both revolutionary and conservative thoughts. Same time, what was happening that it was folk is considered relevant, contains references pre-Christian era or pagan era. Is the thing where I didn't put in as a sort of no, I don't have Anglophile. That's Sharp, who wrote about the subject, believed that folk songs existed in constant transformation. Who wrote about the subject believed that folk songs existed in constant transformation, a living example of an art form in a perpetual state of renewal. So it's saying that folk songs were constantly changing. One man sings a song and then others sings it after him, changing that what they do not like. It's the most concise summary of his conclusions on its origin. He compared each rendition of a ballad to an acorn falling from an oak tree. Every subsequent iteration shows new shows songs anew, but there is essential newness. In late 60s, purists were suspicious of the purists were suspicious of the folk songs recast in rock idioms. Uh, electrification, however, comes in many forms. For the 20th century composers such as Vaughan, Williams, and Holst, there were thunderbolts of inspiration from Oriental mysticism, Angular modernism, and body blow of First World War, as well as input from the rediscovered folk tradition. It talks about that constantly they were folk songs were constantly they were evolving. At the same time, there was fear of being of fear of folks in rock music. I want to say that if this question is difficult for you, then you should have to understand that you need not solve all the questions of such kind. You can skip one RC if you should not, but try. You should try and do everything. But at least you can skip certain questions if you're not fine. It's not a mandate. It's not mandatory or compulsory to you. No, most of the questions. So if you get good 39, 29, 30 plus correct, then you are already roughly around 99, 99 percentile in by you are. So don't worry about it. Okay. If you find that something is really tough, so maybe it is tough for everybody else also. That can also be. That's okay for 20th century. But this is the thing, making summary helps. Composers, uh, they were inspirations from Indians. For the second wave of folk, for the second wave of folk revivalist, as even McCall and Lloyd, starting in 40s, the vital spark was communism's dream of post-revolutionary New Jerusalem. So they're talking about यहाँ पे एक चीज और including folk. I don't think there is mention of war here. And this purist, also if you see this Vaughan, Williams, and Holst, since this they're talking about folk, this will also be about folk itself. Vaughan, Williams, and Holst, they are most likely they are folk composers itself, right? Why will they mention about anybody else? So you can see that they are taking inspiration from many areas. There's mention of war also. This can be important later on. I'm not sure. Also, you can see that second wave they're talking about the vital spark of was communism's idea of post-revolutionary New Jerusalem. So, communism. So this is not communism. There is a. So they are talking about some sort of a political angle to this as well. This second revival, which is happening in 40s, and for their younger successors in the 60s, who thronged the folk clubs set up by the old guard. So they're talking about an older guard, which may be the people who were earlier, or even McCall, or even the people who were earlier them, set up by the old guard. The lyrical freedom of Dylan, unchained melodies of psychedelia. So you can see that there is so much of so many things are coming up. They were talking about that when they were reviving it, they were taking inspiration from so many things, and folk rock was being also considered at one point of time. There was inspiration from many ends, including folks. ये भी यहाँ पे last line is important, that the obscurity means when something is really unknown, when something is very very difficult to know, very difficult to understand, obscure. And anonymity. What is anonymity? Anonymity means when one really doesn't know the name of something, or there is complete lack of awareness and knowledge about something. That is anonymity. So basically, what is happening here is that they're talking about. Okay, let's read here also. The idea of folk tradition being exclusively confined to oral transmission has become a much looser, less civilly guarded concept. Recorded music, television for today's metropolitan generation are where the equivalent of folk memories are. Also, there's a line here that 4 decades on, even that progressive period has become just one more era ripe for fashionable emulation and passion. So they're saying that it is that for now that era is just something which we can copy from, right? They can really just copy from it, but the entire idea of folk folk tradition has been that it'll come through oral means, and it'll be much looser, less severely guarded concept. Recorded television and music today, for today's metropolitan generation, where the equivalents of music are seated. newer generations got diverse ideas and influence. The folk music. Idea of the oral transmission has taken place of uh, the recorded transmission is taking the oral transmission. And there is sort of it has become they said they were loosely guarded and less much loosely guarded, and it has taken the place of at a conference on folk forms. The author of the passage is least likely to agree with which one of the is least likely to agree which one of the following. Least likely to agree. Okay, let's read one. Whether he will agree to it. Folk forms in their ability to constantly adapt to changing world exhibit an unusual poise and homogeneity with. Has the passage spoken about that constantly adapt, or there is constant addition? Also, has it spoken about homogeneity? Similar kind of idea. Ideas are same, similar. No. Ideas are changing. Right? What they're saying is, let's quickly read the entire thing. Folk has a reference to the pre-industrial England and has certain attributes of nostalgia about it. Folk has been both fashionable and unfashionable. It represents both re- revolutionary and conservative thoughts. Folk is considered relevant, and it also contains some reference to the pre-Christian era or the pagan era of the Great Britain. Folk songs were constantly evolving. There was fear of folk being used in rock music. For the 20th century composers, there were inspirations from many ends, including folk. The newer generation brought diverse ideas, and the newer generation brought diverse ideas and influences to the folk music. The recorded transmission has taken the place of the oral, or you can say that as substitute oral transmission. It is nowhere talking about an unusual poise, and poise means a position in which it can balance itself, and uh, homogeneity. No, there is no homogeneity. It's a constant evolution. It's a constant change. This is possibly a correct answer, but we don't know for sure. Let's mark it yellow for that case because we don't know. Folk forms, despite their archaic origins, remains uh, intellectually relevant in contemporary. So we have found that yeah, people want to talk about it. There is certain amount of changes, but people want to. So you can say somewhat it is correct, somewhat it is relevant. It's not the right answer. The plurality and democratizing democratizing impulse of folk forms emanate from the improvisation that its practitioners. Yeah, so there is a lot of thing that they have said that there are a lot of aspects to folk music, in a lot of ways people have played it, and there is a certain amount of, when we say something is democratized, it means it has been brought to the masses, to the people, and there are various ways in which it is done. So it is correct, relevant. The power of folk resides in its contradictory ability to influence and be influenced by the present while remaining rooted in the past. This is again correct because it is saying that it is influencing, relevant. It says that here that there is folk has made an impact, and it has reference to industrial past, to the industrial past, and also it has taken influences from so many other forms of music, and there are a lot of diverse ideas, say change in the lyrics by Bob Dylan, or having a political idea associated with it. So other things like these things they have, and the mode in which it was transmitted. The primary purpose of the reference to William Morris and his floral prints is to show. So in the previous question, the answer is one only. That they have nowhere said that it is nowhere said that there is homogeneity, that there is a the entire folk music which is coming. Even if you see from last 100 years, the music has changed a lot has been added to it, and it has influenced many music forms, many thought forms, and it has got influence itself. It's a constant give and take which is happening here. The primary purpose of the reference to William Morris and his floral prints is to show the pervasive influence of the folk on contemporary art, culture, and fashion. No, it was, if you go here, the Morris, this folk, this floral painting was mentioned in a way, just as effusive floral prints of the radical William Morris now cover genteel sofa. So the revolutionary intentions of many folk historians and revivalists have led to music that is commonly regarded as parochial and conservative. What is parochial? Parochial, that means having very narrow and a very narrow view with respect to the caste and language and the faith, having very narrow and being very conservative, being very much rooted in the past. So so basically folk is considered, so like I said in the second line of the summary, paragraph summary, it represents both revolutionary and conservative thoughts. Let's come to second one, because one is irrelevant. In fact, it is incorrect also. And that what is once regarded as radical in folk can be seen later as conformist. Yeah, true. This is the right answer. That what is once seen as very much radical, it is later on seen as conformist. He says that despite its archaic origins, folk continues to remain a popular tradition. This again, that what was once derided as genteel is now considered revolutionary. No, this is the other way around. What was once considered revolutionary is now considered is contrary. Which of the following statements about the folk revivalism of the 1940s and 60s cannot be inferred from the passage? Which of the following statements about folk revivalism of 1960s cannot be referred from the passage? Okay. So if we go to 40s and 60s, what do we read here? That newer generation brought diverse ideas and in influences to the folk music. Recorded transmission has substituted the oral transmission. Also, there is some reference to the political. There was a some political reference also was given. Also, with respect to the unchained melodies of psychedelia. Psychedelia is more of a very fast-paced music, and they have spoken about the lyrical freedom of Dylan. Lyrical freedom of Dylan is like Bob Dylan was a lyricist. He got Nobel Prize for literature, which is very rare for to receive when you are a lyricist. And when it's only given to the people who write novels for they get Nobel. Cannot be inferred from the passage. It enforced Cecil's observation about folks' constant transformation. Correct? So it said that so Cecil said that there is constant transformation, and 40s and 60s, yes, said that yes, there was continuous transformation. Indeed, they were constantly bringing new ideas and it was changing. Freedom and uh, freedom and re- rebellion were popular themes during the second wave of folk revivalism. Okay? So yeah, uh, freedom and rebellion was the theme that if you read that, you read the reference to here, written the vital spark of communism's dream of a post revolutionary new Jerusalem. So this is again referring to the newer set of ideas with which are not which are not supportive of the war. Also, if you read here, there was some reference to the body blow of the First World War. The paragraph earlier to it. Freedom and rebellion were themes during the second. So this was also, if you read one more thing here, let me take you here. There was a reference to the unchained melodies and lyrical freedom. Sorry, my bad. This line will refer to this unchained, the lyrical freedom of Dylan. That means there was sort of freedom from what you will write. The meter it should be very free and unchained melodies. Again, referring to a freedom here. So there was third comes electrification of music would not have happened without an influence. This was nowhere mentioned. This is the one which is the right answer. It was nowhere mentioned, and hence even though it led to folk rock's golden age, it wasn't entirely free. Even though it led to so yeah, you can find criticism here. It wasn't free from critique. So you can find reference here that if you read here, that psychedelia created conditions of folk rock's own golden age, a brief Indian summer that lasted from 1969 to 71. So there is a sense of criticism that it lasted for a very short time. 4 decades on, even that progressive period has become one more era ripe for fashionable emulation. So even though it was really a really bright phase in Indian history, um, even that progressive period has become just a more has become more just a thing to just go back and just to copy the people have considered it just as a reference point to copy the fashion sometimes, and it also lasted for a very short duration. Also you can say that here also they've said that the idea of folk tradition being exclusively confined to oral transmission has become a much looser. So that means earlier there was certain restriction were there, but now there are no restriction. You can see that there's a lot of inferences in these sentences. uh, One way can be that to just find the odd what cannot be clearly found. What cannot be clearly found, that electrification of music was nowhere mentioned when the author was talking about the folk revivalism of 1940s and 60s. um, the music's electrification was never. So this is correct. Even though it led to a folk rock's golden age, it wasn't entirely free from critique. This again can be substantial by deep and active reading. The author says that folk may appear a cozy and fossilized form because the notion of folk has led to several debates and disagreements. We're talking about cozy and fossilized form. The folk has a reference to the pre-industrial England and has certain attributes of nostalgia about it. So there is nostalgia is there, and there is some certain amount of pre-industrial England also related to it. So this comes in option number 3. rosy fossilized form. 3. Of its nostalgic association with the pre-industrial past. Folk is a sonic shabby chick with an antique veneer. No, here they were not talking about the folk being relevant. The same time having a reference to the historic past of England. So not it was not talking about it. This was an earlier first paragraph. They mentioned about that there is a coziness. When you say cozy, fossilized form, or you talk about some ancient connection, it is about having a emotional connection with the past, right? I mean, why you say the place is cozy? Because it evokes certain memories. It evokes certain emotions in you. The folk is a sonic shabby chick with an antique veneer. This is irrelevant. This is true. This is arrogated means, second, it has been arrogated for various political and cultural purposes. Arrogated. So this is again irrelevant. What is arrogation? Arrogation means when you claim something to be true, or you claim something that it belongs to you, or it means something without any reason, without any logic, without proper evidence. So that is arrogation, right? So claim something to be true or to be false without any arrogation. So that is again not relevant. This sort of narrative was never came out. The notion of folk has led to several debates and disagreements. The notion of the folk has led to several debates and disagreements. Okay, the notion of the folk has led to several debates and disagreements. This was also never mentioned. All of the following are causes of plurality and diversity within the British folk tradition, except the causes of plurality and diversity, except one, the 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 fluidity of folk forms owing to their history of oral mode of transmission. Okay, this can be true for some reason. That British folk continues to have traces of pagan influence from Dark Ages. This was also correct. Can be substantiated. Can be substantiated. uh, Remote parts of the country, yeah. So pagan influence and remote, so 2 and 3 are almost same. Pagan influence means the pre-Christian, before there was this Christian religion spread of the Christianity in the Great Britain. What was it, tribal or the local culture, or whatever it was, it was sort of. So this basically refers to that. So this is again substantial. Then comes for paradoxically, folk forms are both unpopular and popular. This is not, this is the right answer, because how can something being popular and unpopular can give rise to diversity and plurality? This is not relevant. Also, if you can come back, all right. So yeah, so this is the thing which we've done. It took an hour for us to. I hope it was helpful. Try and do it better tomorrow. Let's try bringing one or two more RCs for today. And at the same time, let me bring in some other methods to sort of make it more interesting. Usage of pen tab are also in consideration. So if you look at the pricing, 17,550 and 18,900 for 12 months and 24 months respectively. This pricing is amazing. If you can get, really helpful. It's a good investment, like I always say, for your future. It will learn a lot of skills, and you might end up, you will for sure in procedures management as IMs. For Unacademy subscription, you get with Unacademy subscription, you get live classes. You can do that with the educator, live polls, leaderboard, test series analysis. You get live data. Well, same time, like I've said, that you get a lot of free classes and a lot of free quizzes also on the app, and they are recorded, and you can look at them at a later. Use the code Saxena10 to get a 10% discount. Very much.